All right, right. Peace, 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 and blessings, everybody. Haki Ami here, the Success Scholar. Hope you all are wonderful. Hope you all are having a beautiful day. Happy Kwanzaa, Habar Ghani to you all that are participating in the holiday of Kwanzaa. So I wanted to, just touch bases and, just drop a little something. I wanted to share something someone sent me, and I just didn't think that it was, appropriate. And I don't like do personal pieces like all the time. I don't feel like I should because there's other ways of kind of putting a clean glass up to a dirty glass, but I feel the need to address this because someone respectfully, sincerely has to say something when individuals are, like a little too far with their levels of disrespect and, kind of in their personal kind of pull or their abilities to, or their desire, shall I say, to pull people to them feel the need to repulse or disrespect other individuals. And what am I talking about? So I just saw a video. Actually, I saw it a few days ago. I wanted to see if anybody else would address it. And I did not necessarily, I brought it to Kaba Kamini attention. He is on Hidden Colors. He is on one of the Hidden Colors, maybe more than another. And very tactfully said that, you cannot like try to bring people down in order to boost yourself up. So Tariq Nasheed, he actually is attempting to create another holiday, I guess. And uh, what I will say is, on the far end of it, of like, okay, is this a good thing? I mean, there are others that, could be considered, people who have started holidays like Dr. Khalid Muhammad, who started in Yame, Gyengyi, in Yame. That's a holiday that he created. I believe oh man, it's in November, if I'm not mistaken, but apologize for if it's not. But as well as Dr. Claude Anderson created Harvest Day, right? So, if you wanted to, like this Kwanzaa and hold up someone that you respect, for instance, you could say like Dr. Claude Anderson's Harvest Day. Let's push that, but that wasn't the intent there, right? So, for instance, I mean, I'm feeling and I'm thinking like, okay, you know that Dr. Claude Anderson, who was in several Hidden Colors, has been trying to get this Harvest Day off the ground, and he's getting older. Like you could have easily attempted to build upon that. And I spoke at the first Harvest Day in the Maryland area, in the DC, Maryland area. I was one of the keynotes there. And it was a good initiative, and unfortunately, there hasn't been the groundswell or the momentum for that. So I'm just saying that if Dr. Claude Anderson is your one of guys, one of your elders, like continue his legacy, respectfully, continue and to build upon that. But not only didn't he do that, and actually, I don't think that Harvest Day was supposed to be like around the same time as these holidays, for instance. But I'm just saying, if you want to try to build upon a holiday, well, Dr. Claude Anderson certainly has a level of credibility that and such a level of respectability that his work, his body of work can be of substance that people will kind of respect that. But he didn't do that. Tariq Nasheed has attempted to create Aritususe or something, and had a A hat or something. So my thing is this: now, if you want to do that, that's fine, right? But you don't have to. And his quote was, I'm gonna quote him: "We don't rock with Kwanzaa anyway." Like, who doesn't rock with Kwanzaa anyway? It's like 60 million people all over the planet that rocks with Kwanzaa. Like, um, and I'll just give you this example, and not to, I mean, he didn't go into the details of why not, and maybe he should be applauded for not like being, to creating like an extreme diss video, for instance. But he didn't go into the whole CIA, or thinking, for instance, dissing Karenga as an individual, or calling it a black Christmas or a black Hanukkah, black, you know what I'm saying? You got people that want to throw that, those terms out there to sort of say that he was trying to copy Christmas or take away Christmas, or he was trying to, imitate the Jewish people or something. It's all kind of conspiracies out there. And actually, I was on a radio show like last week, and Karenga was on the day before. So I was talking about cooperative economics, and I was talking about the whole Mata movement and that history, and everybody that was around, during that time. But my idea, and I wanted to put this out there because Tariq has, I mean, and it's a few other people, and I'm sort of short on like everyone, but he also has. I mean, all right, this is absolutely divisive to 60 million black people, like all over the world. And like, what are you going to do different? What message or what strategy are you going to have that's going to be different outside of doing another documentary, right? That people can watch, on YouTube, or pick up a book and read. But the reality is that most people aren't like reading on that level. So, with that being said, uh, some of the individuals, for instance, that Tariq has called agents, like, which is very dangerous, I believe, to for instance, calling Malik Zulu Shabazz, an attorney out of the DC area who has done a lot for a lot of people. A lot of real freedom fighters that really have stood up to many different forces out here. But many of these individuals, Tariq and even Umar, will go on the Breakfast Club, for instance, and the same show that the ADL has gone on, and uh, you know, but you will call Malik Zulu Shabazz, who's sort of hated and despised by the ADL. You'll call him an agent, right? But you don't do like any analysis. Haven't, like, for instance, even never did an analysis of the secret relationships between blacks and Jews or something like that. Like, do that as a discussion for do that as a discussion. I'm sorry, I had to pause for a second, but that would be something I would hope that you would possibly do if you are sincere about giving like a broad range and a broad respect for our history and the allies, or those that you do not consider allies. So That being said, not just Malik Zulu Shabazz, but for instance, even Irritated Genie, uh, referring to him as an agent. So I'm just curious, like, okay, so you have Malik, who Malik is, for those who may not know, Malik has done some tremendous things for myself. So I'm in the DMV area, so I know the type of had dinner with him in New York at Sylvia's. Over the years, I've been I spoke on several different places where he's invited me to. So I'll just put that out there. And I know he's done some legal things for a lot of people. Um, tell folks why he was dating his wife. All right, I'm trying to be professional, brother. I'm somebody said something. I just want to stick to the reality of the Kwanzaa, and like somebody need to question this, right? You know, I mean, I can put your comment out there, but I mean, it's in the comment section. But I'm not like in the business of making personal slanders or just being divisive, for instance. But I feel that a proper critique at the right time is what someone with a level of credibility, respectability, but also a stand up black man need to address at a particular time. And unfortunately, people, again, just like Umar, for instance, people in the circle may not feel confident in questioning certain things. Now, and another one more person, Grandmaster J. That was the other person, for instance, that was called an agent now. And I'm just like, man, you calling out all the people who are alleged freedom fighters, right? So I'm just like, where, like, what is this? And I'm not gonna say like on a reverse end and say you're an agent, but I think like there's a level of disrespect there that unfortunately many of them haven't like really stood up to them or articulated a challenge to those arguments, but also the some of the other just riffraff. You know what I'm saying? Like the brother just said in the chat. Like, so I'm just like, what is it? Dirty glasses don't shouldn't dirty. Those with dirty glasses shouldn't throw stones or whatever. Those in the glass house shouldn't throw stones. So I'm just saying that's definitely a reality. But let me get to some real uh, tangible, shall I say, analysis and some of the hypocrisy of that the particular movement, what I call the FBA follies. Now, a few weeks ago, I was in perhaps Kenya, I believe, that there was a FBA rally discussing reparations. Now, you in DC, there was no real conscious organizations, scholars that have done work in the DMV area or political forces connected to that. Like, when you in the DMV area, you tend to know like who's doing what on what level. And I'm not like in all of these congressional levels, for instance, but I do enough in Maryland. And one of the things that I thought, because I paid attention, people were texting me and telling me what's going on. And I was like, well, there's a governor's race in Maryland, and tentatively there's the first black governor in the state of Maryland can be elected. And here you have people talking, for instance, about reparations in the DC area. And after that, in a week or two or later, there's the Maryland Legislative Black Caucus, right? They have their weekend. Now, many people may not know that there is also a congressional, uh, supposedly sold out the Black Studies program, aka hold on, the brother is commenting on Kwanzaa here, and Dr. Karinga. I'll show your comment, brother. It's all good. I'll show that one. I don't want to talk about nobody's wife and whatever his children or something, but it might be a worthy conversation. But I'm not gonna, enough people do that. So, with that being said, so there's the Maryland Black Caucus, and then there's the Congressional Black Caucus, for instance. And none of the speakers at this FBA rally, I'm not going to say they don't have a clue, but they haven't done like a basic work, like even to organize around the reparations issue, like for real. Like even galvanizing those people that were at the reparations rally. Many times when you have a rally, for instance, in DC, people from the surrounding area, Maryland, Baltimore, some Virginia people, and even people in DC, they make up the bulk of well, not always, but a lot of people do participate in that. So, unfortunately, and I know the people that are there, that the speakers, many of them, they, those that are in Maryland or from Maryland, they don't do nothing like in the community like that for real. They're just YouTube people. They don't like I've never seen them in Annapolis for nothing, zero, nothing at all. Like not a one time in 20, 15 years. Like I've never seen them even show up to, I don't know, register people to vote. You got to register people to vote if you talking about lobbying for A, B, and C, or even getting numbers to do things on a congressional level or a state level or even a local level. So my next question is, are these people supporting, for instance, any candidates on a local level, a state level, or federal level? And so my understanding or what I see is that this is like just a intellectual discussion. Like this is just some feel good, come together and talk, right? And pump up session. So my whole thing, yes, and I had to throw it out there about the person, the speakers that were there that's doing nothing in Maryland, because like you can't suggest anything about my work and you don't show up for nothing, but you know like you can't do that. Not in Maryland. People know my presence, shall I say. So I made it a point to be connected, and not just there, but even, for instance, on a congressional level. As I recall, and I'll just share this, that I just share that we, on a congressional level, did a report, the Black Agenda report, some years ago. Used to do reports, and we would take it to the CBC. We would grade the elected officials, and bring. We had a report card for every single one. Like every year they did it. I only did it one time, but the Black Agenda report. And rest in peace to the brother mm, Bruce Dixon, who used to do that, and then another brother that used to put it together. So, in closing, brothers and sisters, I had a lot more, but I just wanted to, sort of put all of those things together. And let me just plug the African American History Museum in DC. They have a film showing on January the 7th called Emancipation, and that's, hold on, let me move this. Let me hide this. All right, thank you, brother. All right. Um, oh shoot. Uh, Yeah. So, oh, thank you. The feds want to hold on, give it a back. Yes, yes. You know, instant. I got this other book, and I just mentioned this on that interview that I just did. I talked about cooperative economics. Um, check this book out, brothers. To brothers, Executive Sessions, Racial Matters, the FBI's secret file on Black America, 1970 and 1972. And another one is called Agents of Repressions. Now, many people may not know, but I was the last person to bring Brother Steve Coakley into Baltimore before he transitioned. So, you know, I've been listening and you know, studying his work for quite some time. Uh, you know, but you know, not just to you know say that you know, however people perceive him or however, but I'm just letting you know that some of us out here, you know, have been connected to real workers, real thinkers, real strategists. So now I wanted to also mention, of course, there was the U.S. Africa trade summit, trade leadership summit that President Biden did recently, and several uh, African nations came. Now I know that FBA don't think they need to connect to African people, but I'm just like that would have been a powerful lead up. You have a rally in the DC area. The follow up could have or should have been um, to have a presence, to have a significant, substantive presence, to even have a dialogue. Whether you are, you know, whatever you call yourself, you don't think that you're just going to cut yourself off, for instance, to African nations. So that could have been an opportunity to have a mature and respectful dialogue with some of the diplomats. See, you have to understand how international affairs work, and you can't just joke your way, you can't clown your way, you can't entertain your way to reparations or to power and respect. So, and I'll say one more thing. Um, you know, if we feel that we black people who are here are divided from African people. Some of us are divided based upon North, people from that live in New York and people that live in Texas and all these different types of Black American culture. And there's no monolith on what is a conscious Black American, if you will. And so one thing that I will say, you cannot diss the Malik Zulu Shabazzes, the Irritated Genies, and the Grandmaster J, and throw up the red, white, and blue flag, because I mean, psychologically speaking, it's like weak, to in some people's spaces. So that's all I have to say. I will be out, y'all. Thank you all for joining me. Haki Ami, the success guy. Thank you for following. Peace and blessings.